This is the post-nihilist. You can't win unless you're on God's side. And that goes for everyone, even the people who appear at the moment to be winning, including the organizations, secret societies. You cannot win unless you're on God's side. I had a dream on the 2nd of November in which I'm in a classroom being taught by a person who I know to be a disinformation agent on YouTube. And this person, has the appearance of a leader. Like they portray themselves to be a leader and a moral person and someone who is like a father figure, but they're really not. They're really compromised, but they're playing a role. Well, this person, I'm in a classroom, they're at the chalkboard, and it's a traditional class setting where, the desks or the tables are facing the chalkboard and the teacher. He hands me a red, old, thick book, no dust jacket. It's a red, old, thick book. And I will ask you to reference my my video titled Malcolm X Dream. And in that video, in which I discussed Tommy Sotomayor and Tariq Nasheed, and no, neither of them were in this dream. But I say that a red book symbolizes sin. It symbolizes sin. So this teacher hands me a red, thick book, and it's old. And it has Illuminati as the title, and maybe a little bit of design on the actual cover, but on the cover I noticed the word Illuminati across the top. And it's an old book. It has dull gold lettering, but it's a very old book. You can tell it's an old book. It's not, anything created recently. And he gives it to me, and I look at it, and then it changes. I don't know if I'm responsible for it changes, but it changes so quickly. The cover changes so quickly, and I don't even know how it's done. So apparently I didn't do it, but it's done in front of me. So in my perception, it's like, oh wow, look what I've done. But I didn't do it because it was done too quickly, and I can't even explain to you how exactly it was done. But the cover was changed to now the cover is shiny with like sparkly, like a craft. Like, you know how you put like glue in shapes and then you sprinkle like a gold, like glitter something on it, and it creates like this very sparkly, standoutish like design or lettering. Well, it looked kind of like that, where now Illuminati has like gold new glitter over each of the letters, so it really pops out on the cover of this book. Same book, remember. Then underneath that, underneath the title Illuminati, it has, and all this is glittery gold, attached to the book in these designs. Under that is a white male, and I only see the image of a white male on this book cover, and I only see his right profile, and his hair is like spiked up, or going upward, and he looks like a monster. It's a white male, but he looks like a monster, scary like. And under him is the picture of a single eye. So Illuminati, then under Illuminati, this image of the right profile of a white male who looks like a monster, and then under that is a large eye. The eye is about the size of the white male's profile, and the eye is a blue eye. Okay, so you have Illuminati, you have the white male who looks like a monster, then under that the eye. Now illumination is, these people who, Illuminati, people who feel like they're enlightened. Of course, their enlightenment comes from Lucifer, the devil, who is at the top of the secret society pyramid. That's who people in these secret societies, Masons, people like that, they're worshiping whether they know it or not. where he says, you know, you can become a god, you can become enlightened without God, the God of the Bible, and stuff like that. Well, this new cover, you know, with all the new glitter and all, you know, is very attractive, you know, and it has, you know, the blue eye. It's just, it looks like a craft project, a very, you know, neat craft project that is a book cover that will stand out and that people would like. It's very artistic, you know, and it's in this, everything is glittery, you know, the gold lettering is glittery. The image of the white male that looks like a monster is glittery, you know, glitter outline, and the blue eye, you know, even the blue eye itself is glitter blue, you know, everything shines, everything pops out. It's very, you know, attractive. And you know, so I'm thinking that this book, this is a book of sin. This is a book of secret knowledge because you have the Illuminati as the title and the all-seeing eye. This, so what that says, it's an old book. It's a book that represents sin. It's a book that represents secret knowledge associated with Lucifer. That's what they call him, Satan, the light bearer, or light bringer. And so, and it's an old book. So what does that tell me? Sin has been around for as long as, you know, the devil's been operating. So it tells me that the cover of the book changes, but it's still the old sin, the sin that the devil has been using since the beginning to tempt humanity. It's the same thing, but it's been given a new attractive cover. Okay. And the secret knowledge that he's given these different secret societies, it's the same book, same information, but a new glossy cover, that looks attractive, that pops, you know, that really pops out. Glittery gold, um, glittery colors, shiny colors, very, you know, like artistic or whatever. And, you know, the all-seeing eye of the devil, and it's a blue eye. So I'm thinking that that indicates the superiority that is taught to these people in the upper levels, you know, because the ruling families are all white. So the enlightenment that they've received from the devil is, of course, going to give them superiority complex of saying, you know, that their race is a superior race. So it symbolizes sin, you know, secret knowledge, enlightenment through the devil, and the superiority, which is why the eye was blue, you know, and the eye on the dollar bill, you know, um, is indication of secret society's role in creating and maintaining this country. This is supposedly free country, but it's ruled by people in secret societies. So, and the final, and I'll get back to the secret societies in a second, but then the book, I want to give the book back to the teacher to show him this like very fancy design, you know, that I attribute to myself because it appears while I'm holding it, but of course I didn't do it. But in the dream, I feel like, wow, look what I've done. But I didn't create this design, but I'm wanting to give it back to him to show him how I've transformed this old, dusty, dingy, you know, dull, barely visible Illuminati title, plain title, into this beautiful, like shining, like glittering Illuminati title and glittering image and glittering eye, you know, and it's just very, it looks like very good artwork, you know, on this book that makes this book very attractive, even though it's no book. But before I can, the two images in the center, the image of the white male that looks like a monster, and then the image of the eye, the single blue eye underneath it, are gone, scratched out. And in its place is a photo, an actual photo that is like taped to that place where the image and the all-seeing eye were in the center of this book. Instead, there is a photo attached. It is a black and white photo that's been taken, and it is a photo of a little white girl who's no more than 3 or 4 years old. She has blonde hair. Her hair is in like a little curly bob, and it's the same hairstyle as Grace, who is Nicole Kidman in The Others, the film The Others, in which Nicole Kidman kills herself and her kids, and they don't know that they're dead. It takes someone from the real world to inform them that they're deceased. But the girl has the same hairstyle as Grace, who is Nicole Kidman in the others. She's wearing a white dress that is knee length, a dress that is knee length, and it's a white dress, and I think she's wearing short sleeves, but she has her hand shaped like a gun, and she has it to her head like this. Now, if you and it's a black and white photo, and it's just kind of like sloppily, I won't say sloppily, but it's not in the center like you would think that a photo, and it's, you know, and it's just, it was just kind of hastily done because the photo is not part of the cover. It is a photo that has been attached to the cover, and sloppily so. I say that because it's not centered. If you're going to put, if you have a book, you know, and you're putting a design on it, usually people center that design in the center, but this photo is attached, a separate photo is attached, you know, kind of sloppily to this book, and it is off to the right side. So it's not centered, it's over to the far right so that the edge of the photo is touching the part of the book, the edge of the book that opens. So if you look at my last video, which is the slow lynching of black female celebrities, and my dreams, they can connect, you know, like be a running story sometimes, where, or a lot of times I guess, where I can have a dream one night and then the next night kind of builds on that dream, and then the next night kind of builds on that dream, or dreams can take images from other nights and, you know, use them in order to inform, just like with the red book. You know, I already knew from a previous dream back in February of this year that a red book indicates sin, whereas a blue book with a border indicated the law, like, you know, following the law, but then being distracted by sin. That was in that Malcolm X dream about Tommy Sotomayor and Tariq Nasheed. That was in that dream, but it carried over to this dream, and we're in November. This dream was November the 2nd. So so what I'm saying with that is that the last video that I did on the 28th of October, in which, you know, the slow lynching of black female celebrities, I said that MIA, the rapper who did the song Paper Planes, she was, you know, radical chic, and she's almost put up to glamorize, you know, suicide bombings among Muslims, you know, to get them to ineffectively terrorize and or commit suicide. You know, like, it's almost like if we put up, like, they know she's an ineffective terrorist, so if they glamorize the ineffective terrorist, who really wants to, you know, rub shoulders with the elite, wants to become an elite, because, you know, we see that she married a half Jewish billionaire heir. So, you know, if they can glamorize someone like that, an ineffective terrorist, you know, and they can make them, you know, radical chic, then they can get people to follow in their footsteps and do the wrong things for their liberation. But anyway, she has a photo in which she's holding her hand like a gun, you know, to her head like this. And I use that as an example for like her Bad Girls video, where she's saying, "Bad girls live fast, die young. We do it best." You know, glamorizing dying young. You know, and she's supposed to be this terrorist, but she's an ineffective one. So instead of it being MIA in this video, this stream, well, I've never seen anyone do that in a dream, but I talked about that in the last video I did on the slow lynching of black female celebrities, just as an example of the fact that MIA is leading her fans and followers to nihilistic, you know, nihilistic views, suicide, ineffective terrorism. But this means suicide, like putting a gun to your head and taking a picture like that, like you're you're encouraging your fans to commit suicide. But anyway, in this dream, it was the little white girl who is no more than 3 or 4 years old in this photo, taped on to the Illuminati book, the Illuminati red book, little blonde girl with Grace of the others film with her hair, white dress, and she has her hand to her head like a gun, like she's committing suicide, but she only has her hand, like she didn't have an actual gun. So I think that this video shows that these elite, because in the last video I said that the black female celebrities, they're not protected, and I used the Super Bowl 2012 performance as an example of that, of how Madonna is the queen. She's being put on a pedestal, and in her "Give Me All Your Loving" video, she's the one being protected. The white woman is being protected, whereas the black woman, Nicki Minaj and MIA, are merely cheerleaders, and they're not protected. But it's the white woman being uplifted, and then Whitney Houston dies as almost like as a symbol of the death of the black woman. During that time period, it's like a huge ritual. Clive Davis has a party while her body's still dead on an upper floor, and doesn't want the body removed until after the party. So anyway, I feel like this is showing that these people, Madonna, or the people who she represented in that ritual, the white race who worship the devil, the ones who are the ruling class and who are Illuminati, illuminated by the devil. The book that they follow, the Book of Sin, this very old Book of Sin that Satan has been using on his disciples since the beginning of his deception, has been given a facelift. The cover has been changed, but it's still the same book. And ultimately, regardless of what the cover is, the book had a facelift, but in the end, it leads to suicide. It leads to your death. And being that the little white girl with blonde hair had a hairstyle like Grace and the others, is almost, to me, because I equate Nicole Kidman and the others, the one who killed her kids, and neither she nor her kids realize that they're dead until someone from the outside lets them know. I equate Nicole Kidman in that film, The Others, as being the devil who killed his kids, those who follow him, and they don't know. Why? Because if you look at what he's teaching them, the Book of Sin, giving them the Book of Sin and giving it a facelift to make it look attractive, and telling these people that they're being illuminated, and the sparkling covers on this book cover, making it attractive, making monsters, glitter and whatever. But if God is the source of life, and you have the devil showing his children the opposite way, the way of sin, then it's going to lead to death, if it hasn't already, like a spiritual death. So in reading this book, the devil's children are committing suicide. So, whereas I said that MIA and Nicki Minaj are used in order to cause non-white women to go astray and, commit a slow suicide through sin and promiscuity and ineffective terrorism. The same thing is happening to the devil's children who may appear to be protected, but they're not. Because once you get into sin, once you believe the devil's lie, and you're drawn to the fancy book cover, and you follow what he has in his sin book, then you're going against God, you're going against life, and you're dead. You're spiritually dead, even though you might think that you're alive, because you have basic awareness. you could still be dead, just like the ghosts in the others. They didn't realize they were dead. So um, the only way to win again is through God, and it's through faith. And I wanted to do this video also to give some hope after the last video where I said that black women and non-white women are at war. They just don't realize it, in the slow lynching of black female celebrities video. I wanted to give some hope in saying that the faith, that you show by your works is how you're able to win. If you read the Bible, you'll notice that it's not the armies, it's not the warriors who win the wars. When we're obedient and we're faithful, God fights our battles for us, and He can win any war, no matter how many people are involved. Whether, there's no need to number the men, so to speak. And if you look at Joshua at Jericho, it's God who wins the wars. And the reason why we don't have the land that we had, because, okay, I'll say this. In Israel now are the fake Jews. They've stolen our identity. The reason why they're able to do that, and we're here and they're there, and people all over the world think that they're the actual Jews, and we don't have that land anymore, is through disobedience. Like, if you're disobedient, if you don't have faith, if you sin, that allows you to be defeated. So that's why we were defeated. So if you have a teacher, or if you have someone on YouTube telling you that as black people, we need to go and do this and do that and do this other thing in order to win, if they say all that, but they don't mention the Bible, and they don't mention God, and they don't mention how we were winning wars in the past, we've won wars before, and they don't mention the history of how this is part of our punishment for forgetting our God, and sinning and doing whatever we wanted to do. If they don't mention that, then I don't care how many guns you have. I don't care how smart you think you are, how much education you have. I want to talk about that as well, about education. You're not going to win. No one, even the ones who seem to be winning, even the whites, even the Illuminati, the ones who Satan, the Rothschilds, the ones who Satan communicates with directly, the royal families, all those people who Satan, has put in charge, and they have trillions of dollars. They don't win. They appear to be winning, but you don't win if you're not on Christ's side. You can die physically and still win, because God can wake you back up. He has that power. He created life. He is the source of life. He has that power. Okay? And the flip side is He can keep you alive as long as He wants in order to punish you. So you can be dead, but yet still alive. And He can allow you to live out your punishment. And that's why you should fear Him who can destroy both body and soul in hell. What does that mean? Okay, your body is destroyed in a hellish condition, and your soul can be destroyed. Okay, so they're two separate things, meaning your body can be destroyed and your soul can still be alive and placed in another body or whatever. But He's the one to be feared, because He can prolong your awareness as long as He wants, or cut it off whenever He wants. So, and just because there seems to be no continuity, like you get into a body and you don't have any memory of anything prior to that body, doesn't mean that your awareness has not been elsewhere in another body. So that's why He's to be feared. He's the source of life, and He can prolong your life to where you wish to die and you can't, or He can cut it short. But as far as education goes, and I actually asked about this. I asked for insight about these fake leaders. that are put before us. Um, because there are a lot of them. There are a lot of black people who get national coverage. You know, like I'll say the Malik Zulu Shabazes, the Tommy Sotomayors, the Candace Owens, people like that who are being coached by whites on what to say, and essentially their job is to distract. Like they're not actually bringing us; they're bringing us to a dead end, essentially. Because if people understood power, they'd understand you don't vote for Democrats or Republicans because they're both being puppeted by the same hand. If you watch the short video, is I think it's a little more than 7 minutes. It's I Pet Goat 2. And you see there two somewhere in the video you see two like reptilian hands. One has a bleeding heart on it, and the other one has a dollar sign on it. And this one reptilian is puppeting both sides, and then it goes down, and then you have Bush, and then you have Oprah Winfrey on the other side. That indicates that both the bleeding heart liberals, bleeding heart, and the capitalist Republicans are being controlled by. See, they already know. They know that you have to give perceived choice in order to capture everyone. Because people get complacent when they think they have a choice, when they think what they're doing is leading to something. See, people panic if they feel as though they're in, complete slavery. But if you give them the illusion of choice, then they feel like they're free. And so that's why you have to have the Republican and the Democratic Party. But at the highest levels, they're both controlled or they get assassinated. But in school, they teach us about the lone gunmen. They don't teach us about large conspiracies involving, multiple people and fall guys. They don't teach us about patsies and stuff like that. No, they teach us about the lone gunmen, the magical shots, and that's it. The fall guy. They teach us about the fall guy. But concerning education, I asked about that. Did I ask about? I can't remember whether I asked about education as well, or if I only asked about these puppet black people that they put before us who lead us to dead ends. Because most of the time, they're not saying anything about God, about how God is the only way. Like if God is not on your side, maybe you'll win a few battles, but you won't win the war. And the reason why you win the battles is probably because He's punishing another group through you. He's using you in order to punish another group. But in the very end, he has control over who wins wars in the long run. So I don't remember whether I actually asked about schools in particular, but I did ask about these faux black leaders because I wanted more insight on how they lead us to dead ends. And I dreamed on the 1st of November, I was at a predominantly white university that switched with a predominantly black university. Like the scenery switched back and forth so that I couldn't tell which was which. Like it was like the same thing, I guess. But it temporarily would switch back and forth between being the historically black college and the predominantly white college. And I'll just go to the part that is relevant to what I'm talking about now. I need to go to the office in order to get a 5-year work permit for being in the school. I get a 5-year work permit for being a student at the school. And so I go to the office. It's filled with white women who are middle-aged to a little bit older. They give me the work permit. And I'm thinking this is for after school because usually, it's after school, after you complete school, that you get a work permit. But in the dream, it wasn't clear whether I'm getting a work permit to work at the school, work while I'm at school, or afterwards. But I'm assuming 5-year work permit to work afterwards. But that's just me. But I'm still in the school. I'm still enrolled when I go to the office in order to get the work permit. And as I'm walking back, I have a coffee mug, you know, one of those reusable coffee mugs that are plastic, and I'm about to take a sip of coffee. Um, I take that to mean fake woke, faux woke, um, because of course coffee makes you artificially awake. And so if you drink it, even though you're sleepy, you will feel awake for a short period of time. You know, you still need your sleep, but it's like the coffee makes you feel alert for a period of time, artificially so. And so I'm thinking that these liberal universities, even in these historically black universities, they give you that faux wokeness. You know, they tell you, whether that's telling you capitalism is evil, or whether that's telling you about, you know, how different races are, and women, how you know, minorities are treated unfairly by the white man, and how women are treated unfairly, gender studies, stuff like that. And I'm thinking that generates a faux wokeness. And when I was in college, I didn't learn anything about how to have faith in the God of the Bible, how to do His work. I didn't learn anything about that. You know, I might have learned about oppression and how capitalism is evil and all that by liberal professors, but I didn't learn anything about secret societies. I didn't learn anything about the top levels of the Freemasons. I didn't learn that our leaders worship the devil. I didn't learn about Albert Pike. I didn't learn about real power. And what happened was, um, as I'm leaving the office after getting my 5-year work permit, and I'm about to sip this coffee out of this plastic mug. I see, or I hear, I don't get, it's not a male or a female, but it's a voice, and the voice comes from a bench outside of, there's a gym that is like to the left side of the office that I'm leaving. So I'm leaving the office, and then there's like a gym, a basketball gym, and the door is open. And but in that lobby in between the gym and the office that I got my 5-year work permit from, there's a bench, and there's an invisible voice coming from that bench, and it's speaking very intelligently, but it's doing commentary on a basketball game that is going on behind the open door of the gym. So this intelligent voice is in the lobby while I have my coffee, about to drink some of it. It's in the lobby and is speaking intelligently. And this is at this, you know, at this point, it's a white university that I'm at. But before that, it like switched back between an HBCU and the same white university. But this, at this point, it seems like that white university. But it seems like a black person's voice. But whether it was male or female, it was meant to be ambiguous, because I don't even see a person. I just hear the voice, and it sounds intelligent, and it's doing commentary on that basketball game that's going on in that gym. And so, you know, when I woke up, I'm not a sports fan, so I don't know how sports fans would take it. You know, maybe they see that as a valid job, a career, you know, to comment intelligently on basketball games, college basketball or whatever. But to me, as a person who sees sports as basically bread and circuses, um, I looked at it as being, why is an intellectual talking so intelligently, using their brain power to comment on a college basketball game from the lobby? Like, to me, it just seemed like wasted intelligence, like waste. Like, what? That's bread and circus. That's meant as a distraction. Why are you doing a commentary on it? And but there's a deeper message. Okay, yes, college gives us faux wokeness, because the people who actually rule don't want to be figured out. They don't want to be found out. They don't want you busting down their doors or anything like that. Um, so yes, they're teaching us faux wokeness, so we know that we're being oppressed, but we we don't know exactly who's doing it. So that way, we're angry, we're frustrated, we're rebellious, we might even be violent, but we'll be violent to the wrong people. But then to add another layer on that, as I'm holding my coffee, my faux woke, artificial awakeness coffee, this voice that sounds so intelligent that is commenting on this basketball game that's going on behind the open doors of this gym indicates that you have people who've been taught in college how to speak intelligently and whatever, how to analyze, and they're great speakers, but they're providing commentary for the wrong people. Um, in that sense, I think of them as being maybe the talking heads who comment on Donald Trump and uh, Barack Obama, even George Bush, without realizing that, when you look at your average athlete, when you look at LeBron James, Michael Jordan, the best, Larry Bird, how much power, like actual power. I'm not talking about money compared to the average person. How much actual power do you think they have? Ask yourself that. Other than the power to influence people to buy tennis shoes, like what power do they actually have? Do they have the power to carry out assassinations and not get arrested for them? Like how much power do they actually have? Real power do they actually have? And you realize that these athletes don't have power. They might have money, they might have fame, but they still have people that they have to answer to. They can be fired if someone with more power pushes for them to be fired. So they're pushed into being puppets. The presidents of the United States, they stay in line or they end up like John F. Kennedy. Like they are puppets. And even if you watch that video, My Pet Goat, you see that Bush was puppeteered. Bush Jr., George W. Bush was puppeteered. And Obama is reading a teleprompter in My Pet Goat 2. So, and then Oprah is, I guess she is the bleeding heart that's on the other hand of this reptilian hand that's puppeting both sides. And around Oprah, the Oprah character with wearing purple and who's overweight and who's watching this character Bush and Obama in the My Pet Goat 2 video, she has these heart symbols all around her because she represents the liberal, like the bleeding heart, the I love the world, I want to make I'm the philanthropist. I want to make the world a better place. But in that short video, both are being controlled. They're both being controlled. Obama is reading a teleprompter. He's controlled just like the puppet Bush. And so if people in college are being trained to either comment on Democrat or Republican, comment on Barack Obama or Donald Trump, they're still working for the same agenda because they're both puppets. So if in school we're not taught about these secret societies that worship the devil, Lucifer, that's what they call him, and he gives them their orders and he gives them their power because they chose to worship him, unlike Christ. Christ chose not to. And the devil gave them, power on earth. Then there's going to be some supernatural elements to that power because the devil is a spirit. But we're not taught that in school. What we're taught is the vague oppressor, the capitalist is the oppressor, the male is the oppressor, the white male is the oppressor. But we're not taught about the spiritual aspect, the spiritual elements, the spiritual possession of people who are actually behind the scenes puppeteering those pawns and those patsies that they put out, like the lone gunmans or whatever that they put out, the George W. Bushes, the Barack Obamas, the The even President Trump's, these are like lone gunmen that they say, this is the person. You direct all your anger at George W. Bush. You direct all your anger at Barack Obama. You direct all your anger at Donald Trump, and they're nothing but puppets. And if you are educated in school that these are your enemies, and you're educated on the lone gunman theories, and you're educated that marching, the civil rights marching, is what is going to get us land, rather than the violence that the Europeans have always used in order to get their land. And that's something that Malcolm X talked about, how, they get their land through violence, through bloodshed. That's how land is gotten. But you've been tricked, you've been fooled. They've taught you in the way that they want to teach you in order to keep you docile and confused. And so, you have even the intellectuals, even the ones who have gotten an education, they are commenting, they're using all their energy criticizing and commenting on a distraction. The elections are like a football game or basketball games. You have the Democrats and you have the Republicans. Who's going to win this time? It's like a sports game. It's essentially bread and circuses. Meanwhile, the real puppet masters, the ones who worship the devil in secret, and who the devil possesses and interacts with, they're able to operate without being figured out, because everyone's so concerned about their pawns. And so, like I said, the Rothschilds are trillionaires. They're literally trillionaires, and they've developed a money system, a debt money system, where it allows them to exponentially grow their profits, out of thin air, basically through the debt system. And they're trillionaires, and they have the devil's blessing, so to speak. But the devil himself was created by God, and so he doesn't have as much power as God, and neither do they. So again, and I wanted to provide answers in this video, because I feel like the last video I made was kind of depressing, but it needed to be said, because a lot of people, they don't realize that they're at war, and that the devil has his children, and his children, in enmity between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. So a lot of people have forgotten that, this is in the Bible. But just remember that we didn't lose our land due to being inferior warriors, but being morally corrupt, being moral failures. And so the only way to win this war, for our souls essentially, is to turn back to God, have faith, and show your faith through your works. And that's how you win, because as I said, the devil's children, he has killed his children. The devil has killed the people who believe in his book of sin, his red book of sin. They're already dead. They're dead. He's dressed up the book. It's an old book that he's been using for a long time. He's dressed it up, made it attractive, put the all-seeing blue eye on it. But the people who believe in that book, believe in his enlightenment, the devil's enlightenment, they're already dead. They don't realize it. They've already lost. And so, if you want to get with the book of life, start following the true God. Start having faith in him and start doing his will. And therefore, even in physical death, you can still live and still win through eternal life.